Truck accident wipes out an entire family. Bribery and corruption are involved. A big thanks to @jayabakromby675 for bringing this story to my attention. This is CDL School Pros, and today we're diving into one of the darkest chapters in Illinois' history. If you saw my recent video on the 4 state troopers arrested in a CDL bribery scandal, you'll know this isn't the first time bribery has compromised road safety. Today we're uncovering a case that's just as shocking, and unfortunately just as deadly. The tragedy. On November 8, 1994, a catastrophic accident on Interstate 94 in Wisconsin claimed the lives of 6 children from the Willis family. The accident occurred when a metal part fell off a truck driven by Ricardo Guzman, causing a chain of events that led to the Willis family's vehicle catching fire. This tragedy highlighted severe flaws in Illinois' licensing system, as Guzman had obtained his commercial driver's license, CDL, through a bribery scheme despite being unqualified. Here's what happened. Reverend Scott and Janet Willis were traveling northbound on I-94 near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with 6 of their children: Ben, 13, Joe, 11, Sam, 9, Hank, 7, Elizabeth, 3, and Peter, 6 weeks old. They were headed to Watertown, Wisconsin, to celebrate birthdays in the family. Around 10 a.m., their minivan struck a metal object, a bracket from the truck's taillight assembly, that had fallen onto the highway. This collision punctured the minivan's gas tank, igniting a fire that claimed the lives of all 6 children. The investigation. In the wake of the accident, authorities faced the monumental task of tracking down the truck responsible for shedding the metal bracket. With so many trucks on the road, identifying the right one took precision and persistence. Investigators used several key strategies. Witness accounts. Multiple motorists reported seeing a truck shedding debris along the highway. Witnesses provided descriptions of the truck, noting its color, make, and other distinguishing features. Other truck drivers, using CB radios, had attempted to alert the driver about the loose taillight assembly. The recovered bracket bore specific wear patterns and manufacturer markings, which investigators used to trace it back to a particular model and production batch. By cross-referencing the bracket's details with maintenance records from trucking companies in the area, authorities identified potential matches, ultimately leading them to the specific truck involved. This tragedy cast a harsh light on the risks of unqualified drivers on the road and underscored serious flaws in Illinois' licensing system. But the full scope of the corruption, the widespread bribery scandal that allowed unqualified drivers like Ricardo Guzman to receive CDLs, was uncovered later in a federal investigation launched in 1998 known as Operation Safe Road. The corruption scandal, the license for bribes scandal, as it would later be known, came to light in an investigation that began in 1998, exposing deep-rooted corruption within the Illinois Secretary of State's office. Officials had accepted bribes in exchange for issuing CDLs to unqualified drivers. This corruption scandal, known as Operation Safe Road, implicated numerous state employees and ultimately led to the indictment of former Illinois Governor George Ryan, who had served as Secretary of State at the time. The Willis accident exposed dangerous cracks in Illinois' licensing system, prompting an investigation that would ultimately reveal the widespread corruption enabling unqualified drivers like Guzman to operate on the roads. This wasn't just about one man or one truck. The system was rotten from within. Thousands of unqualified drivers had been given licenses through a network of bribes in the Illinois Secretary of State's office. Who was in charge at the time? None other than George Ryan, who later became governor of Illinois. But back when the bribes were flowing, Ryan was overseeing the Secretary of State's office, where officials took cash in exchange for issuing licenses to people who never should have been on the road. The fallout was swift and far-reaching. The Willis family, devastated by the loss of their children, filed a civil lawsuit in 1999 against multiple parties connected to the accident. In August 1999, the family's civil lawsuit resulted in a $100 million settlement against several defendants involved in the unsafe conditions that led to the accident, including Ricardo Guzman, the driver whose truck lost the metal part; Transamerica Leasing Inc., who attached the faulty tail assembly; Allied Products Corp., makers of the defective part; Hammer Express Inc., Guzman's employer responsible for maintenance; Burlington Northern Railroad Company, operator of the rail yard; Chrysler Corp., involved for questions of crashworthiness. Together, these parties settled with the Willis family to address the wrongful deaths, though exact contributions of each party weren't detailed publicly. This was a record settlement, but no dollar figure could ever replace what was taken from the Willis family. In 2003, Governor George Ryan himself was indicted on federal charges, including racketeering, fraud, and corruption tied to the licensing bribes. His tenure as Secretary of State had opened the door for the scheme that enabled these unqualified drivers, and he now faced the consequences. Ryan's conviction came on April 17, 2006, resulting in a 6.5-year federal prison sentence, which he served from 2007 until 2013. As for Ricardo Guzman, in 1999, his CDL was permanently revoked when he failed to comply with a judge's order to retake the licensing exam. There is no indication he ever regained his CDL, effectively ending his career as a truck driver. It took nearly 2 decades to put this case to rest, from the 1994 Willis family tragedy to Ryan's prison release in 2013. The story of Illinois' license for bribes scandal is a harsh reminder of how corruption and greed can impact public safety, and how integrity is essential to the CDL industry. Thanks for joining us on CDL School Pros. Remember, earning a commercial license is a responsibility, not just a qualification. If you want to learn more about similar cases, check out our recent video on the 4 state troopers arrested in a CDL bribery scandal. The link is in the description box below. Remember, earning a commercial license is a responsibility, not just a qualification. Stay tuned for more stories that impact the lives of truck drivers and their families. Safe travels, everyone.